let's start from a blank project so I can show you how I'll go around starting the project, setting it up, and then going into all the editorial. So the first thing I'm going to do is set up my project. If you go into your menu and project, I can go into edit settings, and I can change the name in here, the first one. Then you have the sequence, and it's how you want most of your sequence to be created for this specific project. So in this case, I'm going to be working in HD. I'm going to actually change that to 25, and I'm going to start my timecode at 1 hour. If you are in different parts of the world, you'll want that at 10 hours or different timings. And you can decide if you want this to be on timecode or on frames. By default on the timeline, I'm going to say timecode for now. And that's kind of the main point. But a really important part of this is working with the code management. So if you are working on ACES or OCIO or pipelines, then you want to be setting that up here at the beginning. If not, I'm just going to use the Nuke default, and I'm going to make sure that my working space is still on linear, and I'm going to be looking, my viewer is set up to sRGB, and my file formats are coming on kind of these common color spaces. In some cases, if you're working commercials or things like that, you probably want to change some of this to Rec 709 by default. Obviously, you can change the color space of the files that are coming in separately, but this is an easier way to set it up. So with that said, I think there is not much more that I want you to point to you out here from this first part. So I'm going to just close that. And now we are ready to start the online. So finishing is probably not the best layout or workspace to do your onlining. So I'm going to swap to my onlining workspace or conforming workspace. So now I have my layout now has a few things that I really want to be using while I'm onlining, like my spreadsheet, which is obviously very, very handy to use while I'm doing the online or when I'm working on the editorial. So to start working, what I'm gonna do is import my EDLs. Now, normally I will have gone by right click, import EDL, XML or AAF. Now, I'm gonna show you another way of doing this. The reason why is because I know that on this project I got several EDLs for the same sequence. So instead of bringing one and then adding them, the rest, I'm gonna first create a sequence, and because I have set, I'm gonna call this quickly CD 60 seconds, and I'm gonna open that. Now, because I know I have several EDLs, I'm going to put them all at once on this sequence. So I'm going to right click, I'm going to say new tracks from EDL, XML or AAF, and I'm going to select the 3 layers that I need, and I'm going to say open. And this again takes the same 25 as it was in my sequence, and say OK. And there you are. I can select that, press F, and I can now have my timeline framed with that sequence. So you can see now I have the 3 EDLs. This sometimes happens. It's very common based on the editors. If you have 3 different EDLs, they come with the same naming for the tracks. So I know that this top track is the one with the most cuts, which probably looks like is my main cut. So I'm gonna just move that down. And the rest you can see there's logs and other kind of shots in the different tracks. Now you can see that when I select anything here on my timeline, it's also selected here on my spreadsheet. This is gonna become really, really handy when we do trying to fix editorial things. One nice thing is it puts in yellow anything that has a retime, so you know that there could be things in there. The reason why it goes on yellow is because it is rounding off to the next value, just in case the value doesn't match. So just for you to know that part of the information that you're getting. Cool. Now the next step is to bring the offline or the reference media that the editorial guys sent to us, so we actually know what we're working on. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually set it up through this option here first. Then I'll show you another couple of ways that we can do it. So set reference media, and I'm gonna go and find my media. So I'm gonna go into editorial, and this one is the first edit that came in, and it has that 60 and it's a MOV file. Cool. And I'm gonna say okay, and there you are. It comes in, and the first thing that you're gonna see is it's gonna set up at the bottom of your edit, and it's gonna set up with the audio in this case. Bear in mind, I'm running on Mac. If you're running on Linux, you probably won't get the audio from the MOV files, so you'll need WAVs instead. And I'll show you later how we can add WAVs as well, but just bear that in mind. So cool. So now I can press play, and to press play I can use my JKL to just start playing. I'm actually gonna mute the audio so you don't hear it while I'm playing it here. There you are. And there you are. So I'm looking at this. This is what we're gonna be working. This looks like the first edit. We can see that there is some graphics things that they have done on top. There's a few pictures in there. So we want to start kind of checking this kind of reference media at those points. So what I'm gonna do is let's now bring the actual media that we need for this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go again back into my spreadsheet, and I'm gonna go and set match media. Now, bear in mind that if you have anything selected on the timeline, it will only conform the stuff that you have selected. So make sure you don't have anything selected and go match media. And quite quickly, I'm gonna go and find my media here in brushes, and here is all my media that I have for this project. I'm gonna say open, and these are my conform options. So most of the stuff is quite common to you, all the different naming conventions I can use. If you unselect all, it's gonna only look for timecode, for example. That's a good one to know. Then the import patterns and exclude patterns is very, very useful, and I'll show you this a little bit later, but one of the main things is by default I'm excluding Nuke scripts. This is because we'll be able to conform, for example, once I have done my 60 version with comps and everything, I'll probably want to conform my 30-second or my 50-second version of this ad, not to the original rushes or to the renders. I want to actually straight away conform it to the comps, and I'll be able to do that by taking these off in here. So at this point I'm gonna say I think that's all I need actually. I'm gonna just reselect all just in case and just go okay. It's gonna go around and give me the options. Cool. So that is 46 out of 55, which is good. So it looks like there is a few clips that I'm missing in there. That I'll have to check and see what is going on. And most of it looks like it's the slugs that we can see in here. There's another one there, another one there. And I'm using shift to multi-select things. So that looks kind of the right stuff, and that's a text, so I'm gonna leave that one there just in case, because I'll need to know what is going on at that point. And I'm just gonna erase those, because I probably don't need those guys there.